Well, hello there. So, this is going to be a little bit of different. Let's talk about firearms. I'm going to break this down into a couple different parts because I don't want to hit you up with too much information. So, um, why am I doing this? Well, if you've been following me, you notice I post a couple cleaning techniques on firearms. I've been carrying for over 30 years. All right. I've shot in almost every weapon there is out there, uh, up to including full automatic. I see what's going on and I'm disgusted by it. I'm just so sick and tired of the lies that are put out there by these people that have an agenda. Ultimately, what they want to do is they want to take away 2A. Now, this is all my opinion, but my opinion, I'm looking at over 30 years of watching this play out. I'm looking at people talking about it. I see what's going on and what my gut is telling me, what I see happening. And a lot of the things that I base this on are not just opinion, but they're true facts. And I'm going to talk about this as I break it down in this series. Okay? And I figured, hey, let's just ride The Witcher along as we go. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is laws. You have
Come on now.
all these people in office. Well, first of all, I honestly, to me, you shouldn't be making any type of policy decision if you have no idea what you're talking about. And a lot of these people have no
Let's
idea
go.
what they're talking about. Up to including the President of the United States, who said on film, "Oh, nobody needs 9mm rounds will explode your lungs." Oh my lord, 9mm rounds will not explode your lungs. This is almost as bad as them talking about exploding bullets and God, tracer rounds and all this other crud that they like to yak about. So, let's continue about laws. Now, these people want to make policies and they keep using we want to make common sense gun reform. Common sense gun reform. They sound like a broken record. That's all they ever say, common sense gun reform, but they don't tell you exactly what it is they want to do. Or if they do, they say, "Well, we want we need to have universal background checks." Blah blah blah. Okay, what exactly does that mean? But they don't specify. They use buzzwords, they use catchwords, they use short words, but they never really specify exactly what it is they want to do. Okay? Ever. They don't tell you. I'm going to bring the world map up here for a second because I want to concentrate on what I'm saying. My attention is being split a little bit as we're driving. There are currently over 300 a little over 300 federal gun laws on the books at the federal level. Over 300. Little over 300. On the state level, there's even more than that. You can't even you can't even really attempt to count the state level because every state is different and every state has multiple laws on the books concerning that particular state and what they've dealt with. Now, when they say they want universal background checks, what they're talking about is they want federal background checks. They want to make it so that every single state falls under a federal guideline for a background check. Which, here's the thing, there are some states. Well, we're gonna take Connecticut. Okay, it's friggin' idiotic. Um, I go to buy a firearm, and I have a permit. I buy the firearm, I still get a background check done on me, even though I have a permit. A waste of time. Waste of friggin' time. You still have to fill out all the forms. If somebody, I don't know, let's just say I did something really stupid and I still managed. I still kept my permit, and I tried to go buy a firearm. All right, well, okay. When I do the paperwork, boom, guess what? I've just committed a felony. I could be arrested for that because I lied on the forms stating this. All right. Bad guys don't follow the rules. They don't care. So shouldn't have to do a background check. Now there are some states where if you have a permit, now you don't need to do a they don't do a background check because you've got a permit. If you lie, but you're still feeling, it's not like you walk in the store, say, hey, here's my permit, I'm going to buy this, here's cash, take the gun and walk out. Oh, no, 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 no. That doesn't happen. They still have to fill out all the forms. They just don't actually, contact the state and do the background check because they got the permit, but they still have the form. They still have the form of the person's name, their address. They still have to answer federal background check information, such as do you use drugs? Have you used drugs? And all this other question. All right. I'm going to touch real briefly on it. They love to throw around, wow, anybody can go to a gun show and buy a gun. Oh, that's not true. Steven Crowder, shout out to you, Steven. Great guy. I love watching his videos. Um, did that a couple years ago. Um, Chicago was bitching about other states, saying how they had lax gun laws. So he went to those states and he went to gun shows and he tried to buy firearms without presenting any type of ID or anything, and they wouldn't sell to him. They absolutely refused, and he had hidden cameras. Other people have tried it, and because they were from out of state, they wouldn't sell to them. Or if they had a permit, they would sell to them, but then they had to ship them. The way it works is if you're in another state, you see a firearm you like, you could buy the firearm, but you need to have that firearm shipped from that state to your home state to an FFL dealer, and then whatever your state does, if they do, even if they do background checks. So if I'm out of state and let's say I'm in South Carolina and I see a shotgun I really like. Oh, I've been looking for that. I'm gonna buy it, and it's a good price. I buy the shotgun right then and there. They package it up. It gets shipped back to my local gun store here. My local gun store with the guy, person has an FLL license. It gets shipped through the mail. He gets it. We do the paperwork via my level. I have to do the federal forms, everything else, and then I walk out with that firearm. Okay, there is no going. But if they want to go federal level, what they're talking about, like I said, universal background checks, common sense, but they don't tell you what the common sense crud is. Okay, I'm going to try to limit this to like 25 minutes per part. So these laws, they want to make it on a federal level that ensure that all states have a standardized and they're following everything else, but they don't specify exactly what they want to do. That's the problem. They're shooting. They don't know. They don't know, or they have an idea. I mean, ultimately, I'll tell you what the ultimate goal is. One of the things that they want to do is they want to nip all private sales. They want all private sales to be go through federal background checks. And the reason they want to do that is so they can keep a list of who has what. Even though they're not supposed to have a list of who has what. They're not supposed to keep a list of who has what. So if you do a private sale, some states you don't need to do any paperwork. Some states you do. All right. It depends on what state you are. And that's if, like I said, that's private sales. Now, I don't know about other people. I can't speak for other people, but I personally would never sell my firearm to anybody that I don't know if I was ever going to get rid of a firearm. I wouldn't sell it to some Joe Schmo off the street. I would sell it to somebody that I know and that I know has a license. Does everybody do that? Probably not. But again, like I said, then what they're doing is a crime. or it can be a crime depending on the state that you're in. So, no tracking. But again, do I have a problem with doing a federal background, universal background check for the entire United States? Yes and no. I would agree to something like that to make all the states have the standardized universal background check, as long as every single state, if you have a permit in that state, let's say for instance I have a permit in Connecticut, I can carry in New York. Or somebody in New York has a carry permit, they can carry in Connecticut. Currently, right now, Connecticut does not recognize any other permit from any other state, which is bullshit. All right. So if they're going to do that, no problem, but then you got to make it universal so everybody can carry wherever they want to go. I got no problem with that. Now, they say that, oh, but anybody can buy guns anywhere. Well, look at Texas. You don't need a permit to carry, buy a gun. Well, yeah, you're kind of right on that. Or you don't need a background check. Well, yes and no. See, the thing is, and I did look this up, if you don't have a permit, yes, you go to a dealership to buy a firearm, they do a background check. If you have a permit, they don't do a background check because you've already had a background check when you got your permit. Redundancy. So if you have a permit, you've already gone through, you've been fingerprinted. This is standard pretty much for every permit there is. So a person goes through the steps to get a permit to carry. They get fingerprinted. They get a background check done by their local police. They go through, they check your criminal history, they check your mental health history, they check everything to ensure that you have no issues. Oh yeah, fingerprinted, boom. Oh, and then now I'm I'm not going to speak for other states. I can only speak of the process here in Connecticut. In order to do this, you need to take an Nra Safety Course. You need to pass the course. It's a written, and you have to show proficiency with the firearm. So you need to take a written test that goes over all safety issues, which basically there's basically three of them. There's three things that if you remember your entire life, you will always have no problems. Number one, every firearm is loaded until you actually check it yourself. Yeah, it's correct. Until you actually pull back and look and make sure there's no ammo in there, the magazine is out, everything is completely empty, a firearm is loaded. Number two, never point a firearm at something you don't wish to destroy. And number three, keep your hands off the trigger until you're ready to destroy said object that you're pointing at. There's a couple other things, but those three, if you remember those three, firearms are always loaded until you actually check yourself. Never point a firearm at something you don't want to destroy and keep your hands off the trigger until you're ready to destroy said target. You'll have no problems. And they should be teaching firearm safety to all kids in school from the ages 5 to 10. That'll kind of limit things down. So getting back to the laws. So these common sense laws and then red flag laws, we want to increase the red flag laws. You know what? Red flag laws, I don't understand how they're getting passed and how people aren't fighting this because that's a complete violation of your constitutional right. In America, you are innocent until you have been proven guilty in a court of law. Red flag laws, you are guilty until you can prove your innocence. And in some states, it doesn't matter who it is. Anybody can report you. Your ex-girlfriend, your ex-wife, Uh, your neighbor, the person you just pissed off, who happens to know you and knows you have firearms. Any one of these people can report you to the police, make up a false report, and next thing you know, you have the police knocking on your door. They're confiscating your firearms. They're confiscating your ammo. They're taking your firearms and ammo. And now you have to go before a judge and prove your innocence. And here's the kicker. If you do prove you're innocent, it takes you a while to get your firearms back. What you don't give back, and I've never heard of a police department doing this, they never return your ammo. So let's say you have 1,000 rounds of 45 ammo. Look the price up on that. 1,000 rounds of 45 ammo is going between $500 and $600 right now. Uh-huh. So not only are you guilty until you can prove yourself innocent, it's going to take you a while to get your firearms back, but you're not going to get your ammo back that they've taken. Mm-hmm. So you've just lost monetary value based on false accusations. So red flag laws are complete and utter bullshit. Plain and simple. Now, having said that, there are some cases where there have been known. Most of these mass shooters that happen, a good majority of them, have been on the radar for a while. People have noticed, people have said things, but they've still gotten away with it. If there is a red flag law and somebody is reported, then that person should be expedited. The police should show up, say, hey, we've got a red flag alert on you. Um, we're gonna take you see the judge right now. We want to take you. We want to take you to see the judge. So you go see the judge immediately, and then you can find out whether it's true or not. And there, you're innocent unless the judge finds you guilty, you're innocent. No confiscation, nothing. That'll nip things in the bud. So there you go. There's the laws. And everything else, what's the deal? I mean, So what's going to be next? Well, I am going to talk about terms, scare tactics. I got about 6 minutes to go here. So we've talking about laws. We've talking about what these people are in. They're in people that are in office, and they talk about the stupidest things, and they say the stupidest things. A 9mm bullet will explode your lungs. Wow, these bullets are explosive bullets. They'll blow you up when they hit you. Oh my God. Uh, all you need for protection is a double-barreled shotgun. Oh. Term-wise, we're going to get into the other stuff. And other silly, nonsensical stuff like that. And again, like I said, you watch carefully what they say. They talk about, they sound like a broken record. They spout the same stuff over and over and over again. And they spread it on. They spread the lies and they spread the fear. The politicians, the media, and they talk about common sense gun reform, but they don't tell you what it is. They scare people with terms. That's going to be the next one that goes into place. Um, and they do this. What they don't tell you is about the amount of laws that are already in the books, laws that seldom get enforced. And if they started enforcing them to a degree, you would find bad guys. A lot of cases, and here's the kicker, let's say a guy commits a crime with a firearm. Should be an automatic mandatory sentence using a weapon, whether it's a firearm or a knife, whatever. If he's using a weapon during a robbery or any other type of violence, committing acts of crime using a weapon, it should be an automatic 10-year sentence, 10-year boom added on to whatever top of whatever sentence he is. No good time, nothing. But the problem is these people, they commit these crimes. I'm going to give you a great example here. Guy commits first degree rape. That's the worst rape possible. He gets a good lawyer. The lawyer gets it pled down to second degree rape. First degree rape, I'm shooting off the hip here. I don't remember the exact sentencing guidelines, but let's say first degree rape is a 30-year sentence. Second degree rape is only a 15-year sentence. The guy was arrested for first degree rape. His lawyer plea bargains him down to second degree rape to save time in the court sentences. The guy gets sentenced to 15 years instead of 30. He goes to prison. There's a whole bunch. I don't know. I can't speak for other states. I can only speak for Connecticut. That 15 years, he's out in 8 to 10 years. He doesn't do the full time. Well, same thing happens with firearms. The guy commits crimes with firearms. Typically, his lawyer plea bargains the crimes down, and he does less time. Well, if you're using a weapon, any type of weapon in a crime, it should be an automatic straight up. That I can get behind. Get a little bit more tougher on the bad guys. But unfortunately, with the politicians, most of the politicians we have in office, they are soft on crime and they blame the victims. They blame the people of the crimes, especially if they defend themselves adequately with a firearm. Then they, depending on what state you are in, they like to go after those people. How dare you defend yourself against the person that was robbing you or that was trying to rape you? Blah, 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 blah. All right, so there's part one. We're going to put this up, and then I'm going to go to part two.